and hardened tree fellers. She glanced once more at the clock and sighed. Only a few minutes past 3, though it felt like hours since Father had left. As long as Charlotte napped, she didn't mind waiting for Father because she was able to read to her heart's content. Father didn't approve of novels, not after Mother died. He said such twaddle softened the brain. A train came into the station. Lucy watched dozens of people, all kinds, rich and poor and everything in between, stream out its doors. A young woman stood at a distance, looking at them with a peculiar expression on her face. Lucy realized the woman's attention was focused on Charlotte. She glanced down at her napping sister and saw her blue eyes open briefly, blinking, before drifting shut as she fell back to sleep. Lucy turned the page to the next chapter in Little Women and was immediately transplanted into the world of Jo and Beth and Meg and Amy, upstairs in their bedrooms, Marmee downstairs in the kitchen with the cook. She read a chapter, and then another and another, sobbing as she came to Beth's tragic death. She knew it. She knew Beth was going to die. "Lucy." Her father's fierce shout broke through her shell of absorption. "Lucille?" She snapped the book shut and stuffed it in her bag before turning to see her father stomp toward her, all buttoned up in his dour black suit, gesturing wildly at her. "Lucille," he shouted again, "where is your sister?" Lucy jerked around to where Charlotte had been sleeping. Father's coat remained all bunched up, Mr. Buttons the bear tucked under a sleeve. But her sister was gone. She placed her hand on the spot to see if it was still warm. Stone cold. A fear rose in Lucy, a greater fear than she'd ever experienced in her 9 years, including that terrible day her mother lay dying. Chapter 1. March 1911, Lexington, Kentucky. The train jerked and jolted as it rumbled out of the station. Lucy Wilson stared out the window, watching her neat and tidy world fade into the distance, watching her well-ordered life, if a bit pedantic and predictable, disappear. She placed a hand over her heart and waited for its clamor to calm. Only 6 months, she reassured herself. She was expected to work for her father's favorite cousin, Cora Wilson Stewart, for only half a year, and then back home she'd go. But back home to what? To her father's new wife, Hazel? A young, vivacious woman, scarcely older than Lucy, Hazel wanted to make a home that didn't cling to the past. Back home to Lucy's charity work among the Lexington matrons, most of whom were twice, if not thrice, her age. Back home to Father. Her presence only evoked his sorrow. Lucy squeezed her eyes shut. Cora needed stenography help, Father had said, and wouldn't listen to her objections about a move to Moorhead. Cora was superintendent of education for Rowan County, an impoverished area full of, how had Father phrased it, moonshine and dulcimer pickers. Having grown up there, he should know, but what exactly did a stenographer for a superintendent of education do? Lucy had no idea. She had many accomplished skills from her education at the Townsend School for Girls, from mastering the art of embroidery to conjugating Latin verbs. And so she had dissected the word stenography. From the 17th century, Greek roots, stenos meant narrow, graph meant writing. The process of taking dictation. That Lucy thought she could do. Outside the window, the landscape had started to change. The train made fewer stops. Its tracks wound through rolling green hills thick with trees. Now and then she would spot a house with a sagging laundry line, but even those were becoming rare. Think of this as an adventure, Hazel had suggested. A time to spread wings and gain confidence. 6 short months, she reminded Lucy. Hazel's enthusiasm was contagious. Lucy had gone to bed last night with a vow to herself that she would be brave today, strong and courageous. Her bold resolve weakened at the station this morning and dissolved completely with her father's last words, said as the train to Moorhead.